really I'm at my best. It doesn't really matter what time it is. I'm at my best when I have a lot of things to do, when there is some pressure, when there is a lot of amount of work to be done. So if I'm busy, it doesn't really matter if it's in the morning or in the evening, I'm at my best.
So you should be at your best now, basically?
Well, it's quite a relaxed interview, so...
no, but also your situation in general.
Well, of course...
Being under pressure and so on.
Yes, but with pressure I mean a lot of work to do and a lot of things to do for my country in Parliament with my colleagues of my political fraction. Of course, when it comes to threats and other kinds of pressure, I really wouldn't want to have that. So this pressure I can miss today.
Yes. It doesn't worry me very much if I'm going to meet a friend and I'm showing up late.
It does matter, yes. I really don't like people being late for appointments. I always am at time at my own appointments. So I ask the same from people I meet. I like to be a little bit strict on time, and not if you have an opinion like, for instance, in the Italian or other cultures, to show up 2 hours later than planned. I don't like that at all.
Good. So you...
Do you?
Me?
Yeah.
Timing is essential.
Exactly.
I would never break a law, no matter how unimportant it is.
Well, of course, this is ridiculous. Nobody can say yes, because everybody in his life drove through a red light or drove a little bit too hard in his car or whatever. So when it comes to these smaller things, I would say no. If I would say yes, I would be a liar. But when it comes to the more important crimes, I can say definitely yes. Of course, I try to do everything as a Democrat and a democratic elected politician, to do everything within the boundaries of the law. And if you don't like the law, it's good to be a parliamentarian, because then you can make proposals to change the law. So I try to really do everything, my utmost to do everything within the law. And if I don't like it, I try to get a majority in my parliament to change the law.
Should we say you slightly disagree?
You can say whatever you like.
My next question is, I'm living in the moment, in the now, as opposed to living in the future.
Well, I hope not, because...
But do you agree to this statement, or do you disagree?
No, I disagree. I don't know if it's realistic to disagree, because if you pose me this question, I immediately think on the circumstances I have to live in today, and I really would hope they would be different in the future.
The next question is, I prefer Laurel and Hardy comedy instead of verbal humor.
No, I disagree, totally disagree. I prefer verbal humor before Laurel and Hardy. Laurel and Hardy is nice, but...
So you're into telling jokes?
Well, more to listening to jokes. I'm not the person that really makes a joke every hour. Some colleagues of mine do, and it's really nice to hear that, but it's not something I do all the time. But I like to laugh, and I like to hear jokes.
Are you yourself, making fun of your own situation?
Yes, you have to do that. You have to relativize the situation you are in, because otherwise sometimes you would go insane or mad. So the best thing to do is, of course, take it seriously, because it's reality, but also to make it less important than it sometimes really is.
Can you give an example of this?
Well, of course, I'm not joking about threats and death threats I get. It's something, unfortunately, very seriously. But you have to also put it into perspective at times in order to continue the work that you really believe should be done. And I'm really highly motivated to, once again, with my political party, Party for Freedom, to change a lot of things for the better in the Netherlands. And, well, with this aim, you have to do it at times.
Yes. Yeah. The next question is what I think made me score low on the empathy index, or my EQ. When I was a child, I liked cutting up worms to see what would happen.
So you said yes?
I said yes.
No, I didn't do that.
Never?
No.
You were never cruel to insects, or...?
Well, no. Indeed, when I was young, I was quite a nice guy. Some people think it changed after that. I don't agree with them, of course. But no, I don't remember cutting up insects or doing things like that, no.
No. So that is...
I'm gaining some points here, right?
Yeah, you're really gaining some points. I have pretty distinct... how should I phrase it? Pretty distinct attitudes in regards to moral behavior?
Well, it depends. When it comes to the rule of law and the morality that also goes together with the rule of law, I think, yes, I do. I think people should abide the law, and law is something like a sublimized morality in a democracy. When it comes to really the individual and the personal aspects of people thinking or doing something in their own home, it might be different, depending, of course, on what issue there is. So, in a way, yes, but I don't have to know everything that everybody's doing and having some kind of opinion about that.
So you slightly agree?
Something like that.
Yes. I'm pretty good at anticipating how other people will feel about me and things I say.
Yes, this is true. For the only reason that I don't know how it's in Denmark, but in Holland we have a lot of politicians who, if they speak for 10 minutes, nobody knows what they have said. Everybody is left in disarray and thinking about what was the message. I don't. My message is very clear. So I can most of the time predict that some people will like it and some people won't. And this is good. In a democracy you have to be straight, you have to get opposition, and let people themselves decide what is true and what is not true. So I try to do my best.
But isn't that what makes people, accuse you of being, a demagogue or a populist?
Well, I'm not a demagogue, because if the majority of the Dutch people would say we have to raise taxes or we should have more immigration, I would never subscribe to that. So, of course, there are limits. And, well, the vox populi, what you call populism, is not something to be ashamed of. If it's within your principles, if it's within your ideology, and you will find a way within that to communicate with your electorate or other people in your country so they can understand and you will get a discussion, I think that kind of populism is more a compliment than anything else.
Yes. I'm not really affected about watching other people cry.
I am, of course. If I see other people cry, I want to know why, and I feel, I don't know if empathy is the word, or sympathy or whatsoever. Of course, it depends on why they are crying. If they are crying because they are sentenced for lifetime imprisonment for murder, I will not feel so much empathy. But if they lost somebody they love or something else. So the context really matters a lot, but I'm...
What if they're crying because of something which you did or said?
Well, it depends on what I said. If I went too far, I will tell them that I was wrong. If I was not, but they disagree, I wouldn't change my tune for 1 inch.
People often tell me that I'm very unpredictable.
No, I got a lot of criticism, but I haven't heard that one so far. So I don't think I'm very unpredictable to a lot of people. They know, once again, because I'm a politician, whether you agree with me or not agree with me, like all my 8 fraction companions in Parliament, we know and we are very clear in what we believe. So I don't think this is the biggest problem.
Good. I can't always, see why somebody should feel offended about a remark or statement from me.
Well, it's once again, also very hard to say, because sometimes it's hard to see, sometimes it's easy to see, but still, I don't care. It depends on what it is. Once again, if you overstep the line when it comes to the law or anything else, it's understandable, but I believe I've never done that. At least I never got into trouble for it. But if somebody is offended by something that, well, is just an opinion, like people who were offended all over the world with the Danish cartoons, I believe cartoons possible within the Danish law and within the Danish values, freedom of speech. It is not something that you can be responsible for or that you should anticipate on. You should use it in every vast and thorough and clear way, their freedom of expression. So again, it depends on what issue it goes for.
My friend